Hello and welcome to Business Live. Coming up in this bulletin, government has dismissed report of an acquisition or merger between telecom operators AT and Telecel.
This is not a merger. It is also not an acquisition. We're dealing with a force majeure situation, and the work of the transaction advisor and the recommendations from their report.
Also in this bulletin, MultiChoice agrees to reduce DSTV subscription fees following intense regulatory pressure as government issues 14 days ultimatum.
MultiChoice yesterday reached out to the ministry and the regulator, indicating now a willingness to comply to address the pricing concerns through a consultative process, as was adopted by the ministry with the MNOs during the data pricing.
Also coming up in this bulletin, the Bank of Ghana directs banks to reapply for approval before engaging any of the suspended financial institutions. We have these and more coming up in this bulletin. Now let's bring you an update on how the commodities are faring on international markets. Stay tuned right after this. My name is Winston Taki, now to our first business story. Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Sam George Nate, has dismissed reports suggesting a merger between telecom operators AT and Telecel. Speaking to the media earlier today, he clarified that the government has only appointed a transaction advisor to explore possible options for the sector's future.
And AT will issue timely communication to subscribers to address and resolve any concerns that may arise. What does the future hold? Government has appointed KPMG to act as transaction advisor to provide guidance on the future of AT, with the goal of establishing a second strong operator to address the imbalance in Ghana's mobile market. The transaction advisor will also access government's shareholding in Telecel Ghana towards achieving the same goal. The transaction advisor has been given a strict 60-day timeline to complete its work due to the urgency of the situation. On the future of staff of AT Ghana, the government will ensure that the approximately 300 permanent staff of AT retain their employment. I repeat, they will retain their employment. There will be no job losses. I've already met with the staff and offered them assurances in this regard. The transaction advisor has instructions to also consider the fate of the over 200 contract staff of AT. I'm grateful to the staff of AT Ghana for their candor and openness during my engagement with them. I'm fully aware of the gravity of the current situation on the workers, their families, and their dependents, but I remain committed on behalf of the government to protect them from any adverse situation. We will see sunshine very soon. It will happen. Let me be very clear, and I need to be very, very clear on this because we've seen media reportage. This is not a merger. It is also not an acquisition. We're dealing with a force majeure situation, and the work of the transaction advisor and the recommendations from their report will lay out a clear path for the consideration of government.
The Minister Samuel Nate George also announced that the ministry is giving multi-choice owners of DSTV 14 days to ensure a percentage reduction in their service charges for the Ghanaian public. This comes after the company failed to reduce its price service within an initial 30-day deadline set by the government. He further noted that MultiChoice Africa is currently in the process of being acquired by the Canal Plus Group, a deal expected to be finalized by the end of September. Now, in another development, some traders and residents of Kaneshie in the Greater Accra region are accusing some insurance companies of denying their claim payment, attributing it to hidden and unexplained terms and conditions, as well as cumbersome processes that were not revealed to them by salespersons of the insurance products. Let's get onto Zoom and speak to the Chief Executive of the Ghana Insurance Association, Kingsley Kwabinson, who is joining me on Zoom right now. Welcome to the Business Live. Now, what do you make of these concerns that some policyholders often do not get their claims payments early enough?
Thank you very much for having me and the opportunity to clarify the situation. Let me say that insurance companies are in the business of paying claims, and therefore paying claims is one of the critical business that we deal with. And so the regulator, there's a National Insurance Commission, has clear guidelines as to what to do when it comes to claims payment. And insurers, by and large, do follow the guidelines. But the challenge is that sometimes we do not understand the issues, and then we are not able, and I'm talking of some of the policyholders, we are not able to also ask for the relevant explanations. And so I'll say that we have what we call a 3-tier system. If you have a policy and you do not understand anything about the policy, the first thing to do is to go to the insurance company. If you do not still have understanding in terms of the claims procedure and so on and so forth, you go to you come to what we call the Complaints Management and Advice Bureau of the Ghana Insurance Association, or you can even go to the regulator so that it is explained to you. Please, the bottom line is that the claims must be legitimate. And so long as it is a legitimate claims, we pay. Let me give you some statistics. On daily basis, according to the Financial Stability Review report, as at 31st December, on daily basis, we pay 9.2 million Ghana cedis every single day as claims, comprising 4 million Ghana cedis as life insurance claims and non-life insurance policies in excess of 5.2 million. Let me also add that we have that edge to pay claims, because if we do not do that, we'll be out of business. Perhaps there are situations where people do not understand, and that is why we have formed various systems in place. We have the Insurance Awareness Coordinators Group to explain to people. Admittedly, one or two sales agents might not be able to explain the way it must be done. That is why we have institutions like the Ghana Insurance Association and the National Insurance Commission available for you to bring your grievances, for us to explain and help you out.
Great. So now, I want to understand from you, from the side of the insurance companies, why is this a challenge, and what kind of challenge? You mentioned that's probably due to unexplained claims conditions.
Oh, it's a challenge. It's a two-way affair. Typically, if you look at the country as a whole, we have not fully adapted the insurance culture, unlike other developed countries. And that explains why our penetration is a bit low. But by and large, we have done a lot. Let me say that if you take insurance in totality, that's if you combine health insurance and pensions and the other types of insurances, we have coverage of over 44% of the population. What it is that perhaps we have not imbibed the culture of insurance. And that is where we as insurers have a lot to do to explain to people that insurance must be the Ghanaian way of life.
Great. From where you sit, what are the insurance companies currently doing to improve penetration? Because after years of work, it's still not that good from where we sit.
We are doing a lot. We are doing a multifaceted approach. First and foremost, we are looking forward to redefining how we measure penetration. If you go to other countries, penetration involves all types of insurances, pensions, health insurance, and other types of insurances. But if you come to Ghana, we just limit penetration calculation to just the one that is regulated by the National Insurance Commission. And so we are calling for a holistic approach to measuring insurance penetration. But beyond that, we are engaging in massive educational campaign. The entire industry have formed what we call the Insurance Awareness Coordinators Group, and we are looking at targeting the over 90% informal sector workers who form the base of our economy. We are moving into inclusive insurance and looking at everybody coming on board in terms, regardless of the person's stature in life.
Right.
So we are doing a lot in terms of education, in terms of reaching out to people. And my presence here is an example of some of the things that we are doing to educate the public on issues relating to insurance.
Great. Right now, what is the status of moves to let government review recent taxes on some insurance products?
I believe you are specifically talking about the motor non-life insurance policies. Let me say that we are in talks. A committee has been formed comprising the Ghana Revenue Authority, the National Insurance Commission, the Ghana Insurance Association, and the Insurance Brokers Association of Ghana. And we are looking at areas that necessarily do not need to be taxed. So, for example, we take out reinsurance, because reinsurance means insuring the insurer. And then also, we've also made the argument that areas like bonds is not insurance typically. So we are in talk, and I believe that by and large, government, as a listening government, will listen to some of the concerns and deal with that accordingly. Let me add that currently, motor, which is also non-life insurance policy, is not taxable, VAT taxable, and it is very good for us as a country.
Thank you for the clarity, and also we appreciate your time here on Business Live. Kingsley Kwabison for speaking to us here on insurance development penetration and possibly the taxation that has to do with the call for review on policies that are in the market. Now let's go back to our earlier story where the Minister Samuel Nate George has announced that the ministry is giving multi-choice owners of DSTV 14 days to implement a percentage reduction in their service charges for the Ghanaian public. This comes after the company failed to reduce its price service within an initial 30-day deadline set by the government.
Yesterday reached out to the ministry and the regulator, indicating now a willingness to comply to address the pricing concerns through a consultative process, as was adopted by the ministry with the MNOs during the data pricing reduction exercise. Consequently, we've taken the decision to immediately establish a stakeholder committee comprising representatives from the Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, the regulator, the NCA, MultiChoice Ghana, and MultiChoice Africa. I will personally chair the committee. MultiChoice has requested a 30-day window for the committee to arrive at what percentage of reduction will be achieved. So let's be clear. They have finally accepted that there will be a reduction. Now they want us to discuss the level of reduction. I believe, as minister, that we do not need 30 days. 14 days is enough for us to reach this decision, inclusive of weekends. Therefore, the committee has a strict 14-day mandate, inclusive of weekends, to conclude its work and present a suitable price reduction structure for the people of Ghana by the 21st of September, 2025.
We have more business update for you right after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Business Live. My name is Winston Take. Now to more news. The Bank of Ghana has directed commercial banks to reapply for approval before engaging any of the suspended financial institutions. The central bank has suspended Forex trading license and remittance partnership of 8 institutions over multiple breaches on guidelines for inward remittance. But the Bank of Ghana, in a statement, noted that even after the suspension on dated November 18, 2025, institutions cannot go ahead and engage them automatically. Yes, and this is the development that has come from the Bank of Ghana. Meanwhile, Chief Executive of Delex Finance, Joe Jackson, has stated that the Bank of Ghana's decision to suspend the trading licenses of UBA Ghana and 8 other firms is a measure to address the decline in remittance outflows. He assured customers of these entities not to panic, emphasizing that the move will encourage other financial institutions to tread cautiously. He made these remarks in an interview with Joy Business.
Reason to believe that the drop in the remittance outflows is because these remittance companies are not bringing the dollars back into town and that they are finding other ways to move the dollars out. That is the belief. And so if there's a reason to think that you have done that, then obviously it's going to come down hard on you. Remember that all dollars should go through the central bank. All dollars going out should go through the central bank. So it's a tough one. The institutions are fundamentally fine, I believe, and so there should be no panic on the issue of customers or anything like that. It is just the central bank showing teeth where its Forex transactions are concerned, and trying to make sure that everybody else will see this and shape up. I assure you that after the announcements, all sorts of meetings are being held in management of all the financial institutions to make sure that, hey, make sure that we don't fall into the same pit. I assure you, I've had my meeting at Delex Finance already, and I won't be surprised. That's essentially maybe what the central bank is signaling to all of us. Don't make the mistake, because if you make the mistake, I'll come down hard on you.
Moving on, MTN Group President and CEO Ralph Mupita announced plans are underway to roll out 5G spectrum in Ghana, highlighting ongoing discussions with the regulator.
Very encouraging discussions with Minister George, really around the ultimate availability of 5G spectrum. Across all our major markets in MTN, we now have 5G spectrum in the major markets. The only major market that we don't have it is in Ghana. And we've done a lot to improve on 3G, 4G, but ultimately we have to get to 5G. And as I said, the 700 band, or even 800, 700 and 800, I think in time people are going to be talking about the 600 band, plus the 35, the so-called golden band, 35 is going to be critical for 5G services. So that is constructive work in progress in our discussions with authorities. So I think it also partly answers your question. We are in constructive discussions about having those bands of spectrum to be able to do 5G. Why is that so important? I spoke earlier about the importance of delivering high quality services to the home. Where I travel, whether in Africa or globally, the big thing is about getting high quality connectivity to the home. Two main approaches. There's one is fiberize, fiber to the home. The other is fixed wireless access. The fixed wireless access generally needs, kind of 5G spectrum, 5G, CPEs, the units that you see inside your home, to be able to really drive a really good customer experience of digital services whilst you're in the home, either for the children, for their studies, work from home, entertainment. If those are the needs we're trying to satisfy, you do need 5G to really, really do that. And we're seeing it play out in markets like South Africa and Nigeria, and there's no reason why Ghana should be left behind. Our timeline will be one given by the authorities. We don't write our own timeline around accessing spectrum.
That's all for business here on Business Live. Up next is Beyond the Numbers, where we are asking the key question: is the Bank of Ghana losing control of the cedi? As of now, it appears the depreciation seems to happen. And right after this, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.